Prince.
Oh, come on, Nate.
What?
You ruining
I'm not
the energy and the vibe. You let him just whisper.
It's gonna respond on the mic.
It's not.
Okay, go ahead.
You gotta edit all of that out.
Duh, Yvonne. It was all part of the plan in the first place. We're gonna start it off with the dog whimpering. Go ahead.
Jesus, give me grace, please, Father God.
Since I met you, I feel unbreakable. Since I met you, I feel unbreakable. Since I met you, I feel unbreakable. I feel unbreakable.
What's up, fam? Welcome to another amazing, long-awaited episode of the Ordained Love Podcast. Guys, we thank you so much for rocking out with us. We know it hasn't been too long since we've dropped a good episode on you guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am super excited. We are officially in the holiday season. We have been doing this for a year. It's been about a year, right?
Has it been?
Yeah, it's been a little under a year, guys. I can't believe we are in the last month of 2023. That's crazy, right? Mm-hmm. This year just flew by. So many amazing things, but we just want to make sure before we go forward that we say thank you to every listener, every subscriber. If you are watching this and you are not subscribed, hit that subscribe button and make sure to share, like, and subscribe.
Definitely. Yeah. And also comment. We love to hear from people that are close to us. They'll let us know about the different episodes, Nisi and Danny, how there were great episodes and how it impacted them, and they were able to share a lot, with us. And so we want to hear from the rest of you guys out there.
And we'll read your comments on live on the next episode. Yep. So make sure you are dropping those comments. We want to hear what you guys think about these episodes. The number one episode that we have had this year was on narcissism.
Yes.
Help,
yes.
I'm married to
a narcissist.
Yes. Got some issues. Yes. I'm afraid.
I don't know if y'all toxic, just plain messy. I ain't gonna lie. I like tea too. I've been trying to get Yvonne to turn this whole podcast into some, tea, messy, but she's not about that at all.
Not about that life at all. First of all, if I want tea and messy, I would just go on Facebook and scroll. I will go on TikTok and scroll all day long.
Talk about some crazy relationships that's out there in the streets.
We are here to uplift the human spirit.
Yeah. Well, I guess that was the whole point of the podcast, right? Is when we look at marriage and you see, man, people got some real crazy twisted view about marriage. So it's kind of cool to have
relationships. It's 2024.
Right.
It's the tiptoeing on the 2024. It ain't just marriage.
Right.
Your sister toxic, your brother toxic, your mama toxic, your cousin toxic, your cat toxic, and your dog is toxic. And everybody wants to see it on Facebook. But not so.
That's right.
But no, seriously speaking, that was our number one episode today, guys. So we just want to encourage you guys to continue tuning in so that we can have people on, experts, interviews, and even our own personal experiences to help everyone and to offer what little advice or what little knowledge or value that we can share. So we just thank you guys for always rocking with us. And with that being said, let's jump on into before we jump into today's episode, I gotta say, did you guys check out the 50th hip hop special last night on CBS or wherever it was? The Grammy show that celebrated hip hop. That was a dope show.
You enjoyed it?
Oh my gosh, I am a hip hop head, but I like golden era hip hop. Like the stuff that they got now,
Is that
your mama toxic, your dad? No, I'm just playing. I can't do the stuff that they have out now. It just don't vibe with my spirit.
Yeah.
But but like Big Daddy Kane, Salt and Pepper, Heavy D, Dougie Fresh, the Far Side, like all of these, Tribe Called Quest, all of the 90s and 80s early artists, they had Moni Love on their Ladies First. They had Public Enemy. These are all things I can remember watching. Yo MTV Raps. I remember watching Joe Claire with Rap City. I remember watching Fab Five, Freddie, and all of those things, and just growing up. Even though I was a child, at the in the golden age of hip hop, I can remember my older cousins playing Chub Rock, and that was like the soundtrack of my childhood. And so just to see those people get honored, it was dope. And my all-time favorite, Philly girl, DJ Jazzy Jeff, the magnificent DJ Jazzy Jeff. It was amazing for me.
Yeah. Well, I saw a little bit of it, and then she was way more excited than I was.
Yeah, because you're like a CHH. You're like a Christian hip hop.
Well, you know what? I don't know. I not to make it a bummer, but when I look at hip hop now, it's so hard. I mean, I appreciate the nostalgic version of it, but because I used to do a lot of music, I'm always looking forward for the next best thing, and it's so just a bummer to see how hip hop, it is now. And so like I really don't even listen to a lot of the music
Nate,
nowadays.
I'm sorry.
You're gonna say something crazy, aren't you?
I just can't help looking at your lips. They're so moisturized. Right?
Yeah, child. Yeah, I found my my chapstick.
I'm like, it's Nate's lips.
Yeah.
You trying to distract me, kind sir.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Are you saying that I walk around with ashy lips all the time?
So you were saying the hip hop. I didn't say you walk around with ashy lips. Okay, that came out of your mouth, not mine.
Mm-hmm.
So you, in your opinion, hip hop has kind of morphed into something that
you
don't even recognize anymore.
Yeah, so it's cool to kind of see the old school and kind of like be excited about that. But it's almost like it for me, again, not to make it a bummer, right? But for me, it's hard to like look back and be excited when you look at the state of it. It's almost like, watching like an album of your dead family members and stuff, just like, oh my God, I remember them. It was such a great time, but they dead now. Move on.
I don't think it's like that. I think it's far from that because they were very alive on the show last night. And you can actually go on music platforms and still enjoy their music.
Well, Nas said hip hop is dead.
And you said it's like remembering your dead family members. I don't think those two things I don't think those correlate at all. But speaking of family members, that is a great segue.
No, it's not. It's a horrible segue.
Speaking of your dead family members, it's a great segue into our topic today because, as we know, it's the holiday season. Mm-hmm. Everybody's getting excited. I'm excited for Christmas. I might not be getting nothing because, this house was my birthday gift, my Christmas gift, my anniversary gift.
Glory. And it's a gift that's going to keep on giving, too.
Right? What you want for Christmas? Go in the den. That's your gift.
Hey, we asked for it, though. Like, we got a nice little studio set up now. So,
right. What you want for Christmas? Go in your bedroom and lie down in your...
That's it.
In your house, though.
Yeah. Hey, we got extra windows, So every day we can get a new gift.
What you want for Christmas? Go downstairs and look out the window of your new house.
That's it.
But Christmas time, as we know, it's usually a time that we're spending with our family members. We're spending with those that we love, loved ones, friends. And it's especially an important time of the year for me. I don't know if everybody knows my story, but I have my biological family who we're very close. We're a big family. We're very tight knit. And then I also have a family who adopted me and took me in, and I'm very close with them as well.
We're looking for T, and we got T right here. We need to explore more of that family
dynamic. Oh, I ain't ashamed of my scars.
Next on Ordained Love, Yvonne's messy past.
Yvonne's not ashamed of her scars. I'm like, Jesus, check these scars out, devil. It's evidence that you couldn't kill me. Okay? Thank you. And my son got 3 sets of grandparents.
So
he got double for his trouble.
He got triple. Yep,
triple for his trouble.
That is
for
true.
my trouble.
That
but
is true.
But anyway, that is an interesting family dynamic, right? Because my two families are very different. The dynamic of, even though both families are tight knit, the dynamic is very different. My foster family, or the family that adopted me, they are very traditional. They're very structured in the way they do things. In my natural family, they're just not that way. We do things on the whim, and we make it what it is. We make it what we want it to be. They're very non-traditional, and so it's two different dynamics. And then you have me having to kind of be able to navigate both sets of dynamics and find my place within both families. And so, you coming into that, me having two different families, our holidays not just being yours or mine. It has to be hers or mine, Yep. So there's a lot for us personally.
Yeah, when I had to ask Yvonne's hand in marriage, I had to ask two different dudes.
Stop.
So whoever struggled with that, the nervousness of, I had to do it 2 times. So look, don't come for me, don't come to me. You know what I'm saying? You ain't have nothing to deal with. I'm the one that had a lot to deal with.
Yeah, when I walked down the aisle, I tried to get both my dads. I did 2 father-daughter dances. I had 2 sets. I had my biological mother, and then I had my biological mother and father and both my adopted parents light my candle.
Oh, it's too much going on. I'm confused already.
First of all, I just almost shot Nate the bird right on the Ordained Love Podcast. I don't do that. Like, that's not even something that I do behind closed doors. But the devil, y'all see how the devil tried to work his way in there? He said, just shoot him the finger one time. And then something else rose up and was like, no, don't do that, fam. You ain't got to do that. You ain't got to do that.
Your dog keep whimpering on the door.
Speaking of messy family. That's not my dad.
That is your dog. That is your dog.
That is not my dog. That's Nate's family's dog. And we ended up with the dog because of a change in the family dynamic. And so
why is the dog always following you then?
So this episode is not about the dog.
All right. So for another episode of Ordained Love, Yvonne and her relationship with her dog.
My friends know I can't stand that dog. So speaking of my family dynamic, I know that it is definitely hard to navigate. It's hard for me to navigate that. Well, it used to be hard for me to navigate that space. I think I've grown accustomed to both my families, and the dynamics, and being able to find my space within both of my families. And so holidays for us are a little bit different than they are for most people. Most people is just like his family or her family. We have to do her family, or his family. And so I just wanted to kind of get into that today and talk about family dynamics, right? And one of the things that I always hear is people will say, I married you, I didn't marry your family. And I tend to disagree with that. Family, I feel like you have 2 families, right? Or 3. You have 3 families for the most part, immediately. You have the family that you were born into, you have the family that you choose, and then you usually have like a sub family, like your work family or your church family, and people that you do life with, right? And so for me, especially having like 2 different family dynamics, growing up with my biological family until I was a teenager, and then being adopted into another family as a in my early teens, who are very still much a huge part of my life. I never had the idea, like, I understand when people say I'm marrying you, not your spouse. I understand that the leave and cleave, right? You're joining yourself with that individual, but you can't just like erase somebody's whole life, that they had going on before you even came into their life. So for me to get in a relationship and then try to put that person in isolation away from the people who help make them who you want, make them to be the person that you want to be with. I feel like that's kind of selfish. Like, what do you think? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm sure that a lot of people, I think that happens in the beginning of the relationship. Like you said, it takes a while to kind of navigate, your space, like even in your family dynamic, you yourself as an individual had to figure out how I'm going to make this work. How am I going to be Yvonne to this set of family and be Yvonne to another set of family?
Mhm.
I think that's the same for couples, a married couple, to navigate how are we going to fit in each family. But when I look back, when you look at, anybody can do this, right? You look back at your families and you see all these different family members and cousins and aunts and uncles. They all made it work. You know what I'm saying? Because you can look back and see all of those families are individual husband and wife relationships, whatever, but they find a way to make it work. And so I think, I think that when you come together, at first you got to figure out how are we going to make it work. And the first part of that is, how are we going to work? Like, what is our dynamic look like, especially when it comes to the holidays?
Right. Well, I think that's real important, right? What is our dynamic when it comes to
what is our family traditions? What are we doing? How do we find our space?
Even before you find your space as a couple and you're at that place where you're doing holidays together, you need to know, and I think it's important to know and set those boundaries. So the way we introduce our dynamic to our family doesn't start at the holiday, right? It starts from the time I say, this is the person that I'm going to be spending my time with. You know what I'm saying? This is the person that I want to be such a part of my life that I'm willing to allow them to meet my inner circle, right? And so you set that bar from the beginning. There was, I don't think for us it was a spoken thing. I think we were well into almost our 30s. So it really was an unspoken thing, but that dynamic was set. This is our relationship. Love you, mama. Love you, daddy. I respect what you do. And there's some little nuances, right? Like how when we first got married, I used to always call my dad when something broke, or, if I had an issue, and then you were like, I'll do it. And then my mom was like, can you do it? But over time, I learned that, okay, you're married now. You don't have to call your dad for an oil change. You can let your husband do that, and he knows how to do it. And so, but I think it's important, not you should, because people do whatever they want to do. But I think it's important to establish those boundaries up front. Like, my mom and both my mothers gave me sound advice about getting married, but my mothers never inserted themselves in my relationship. So they didn't get to tell me how to interact with you. They gave me the freedom to learn how to interact in my relationship with you, and they just gave motherly advice, and it was more or less, this is what I found to be beneficial. It may or may not work for you, but here are some words of wisdom. I think when you begin to invite your family into your relationship, because your family's going to be in there one way or another, right? To me, your family is going to be a part of your relationship one way or another. So it's either, when we show up in relationships, we show up with what's been poured into us, right? And so you're already bringing them into the relationship to a degree. You're already bringing everything, whether it was good, bad, we joke, but toxicity exists, right? So if your parents poured toxicity into you, guess what? If you didn't deal with that before your marriage, you're coming into your marriage, or whatever the relationship is, you're coming into your relationship with that toxicity buried on the inside of you, right? So your mama's in there somewhere, your daddy's in there somewhere, and so they're already gonna have to deal with that. The actual parents and sisters and extended family members actually trying to run your relationship, for me, that's just a no-go. That's just like extra.
Yeah, I think the I agree with you when it comes to setting the boundaries. It's just kind of hard because again, it's a new relationship, right?
Mhm.
Relatively, depending on how long you guys been together, whether you're dating or actually married or whatever the case is. You don't know how the family. I mean, you might have a history of how they operate or how they
Mhm.
function when somebody come in, but this is a new individual to not only you but also to them. So there's a lot of things that that so you can have a boundary. Like we know at the end of the day we want to be on the same page,
Mhm.
right? What does that look like? We really don't know,
I
right?
tell you what it looked like.
You don't know what it looks like. You can say you know what it looks like, and then but one thing I know for sure is that when you do get into these relationships, the part that we have to make sure is whatever we decide, we got to be in it together for the health of
I
our
think that sounds
relationship.
great. I think that sounds idealistically great.
No, but that's what I'm saying. To create boundaries, that's hard. That is idealistic. But when you kind of like, okay, all we know is we got to make sure that we maintain, okay, what is the best for our marriage? Because we could say we go into Thanksgiving with family A, right? And then next year you get pulled to family A again for whatever the reason, right? The mom on the one side might be like, I need y'all to come, I need y'all to come. The daughter don't want to disappoint the mom. I'm not saying you, but it happens. The guy might be a little bit more like whatever, right? And so you might end up look back 2, 3, 4, 5 years later, y'all been spending all the holidays with the one family
So
side.
if you're not saying me, why would you have to say I'm not saying you?
Because I wanted them.
That's like saying ATM machine.
No, what are you talking about? That is not the same thing at all. What do you
Only the
mean?
smart people.
No,
Only the smart people caught that. That is like saying
no, it's
ATM
not.
machine.
That is the opposite of saying ATM machine. That is the
I'm
opposite.
not saying you, but we do spend every holiday at your mom's. I want to.
We switch, and I think, and that's the part that I mean with kind of navigating it as time goes on to make a hard like this is what we're going to do. This is the boundaries we're creating. I think
No, when I say creating boundaries, when I say creating boundaries, I'm not talking about creating routines. I'm not talking about, okay, this year we're going to go to your mom's, which is what we do. We rotate. This year we'll go to this parents. Next year we'll go to whatever parents. And then you could have just said it. Next year we go to whoever. So that's how we operate. We rotate. Or we know usually we spend certain holidays with certain family. This year we got our house and we ain't going nowhere. But when I talk about boundaries, what I really mean is the boundaries of it is, and we're saying essentially the same thing. It is you and I. This is what you and I are doing. But the boundary is not the routine. The boundary is this is our relationship. And while we appreciate our family, our extended family, we love our extended family, they do not get to insert themselves into our relationship, right? So that has nothing really to do with routine. You and I determine what our routine is. That's on us. But my sister or my brother, they don't get to say, well, you gotta come here. You know what I'm saying? Or my mom doesn't get to say, well, you gotta come here, for Christmas or whatever. She doesn't get an opinion in my relationship.
she don't get an opinion, but I mean, again, like you said, it's easier said than done. If there's a family history where the one family member always does like I'm trying to, well, I guess my family's kind of always kind of been off and on about, we never had a really hard tradition about stuff, but you might have a family that you get into and they always celebrate this one and everybody comes in, right? Whoever new family member come in, whether the baby just got born into the family or there's a new person that gets brought into the family, they always come in. There's always this tradition. Now, if you who've always been there for all of your life through all those years and kept the tradition, and in one year you're gone, Like there's a little, okay, we got to figure this thing out. And it sounds good to be like, no, ma, you don't have a say, but but it might not work out too well for you and ma or whoever else is involved. Ma might not like dude the same.
Well, that brings me to my next question.
That's all I'm saying. That it can get a little, little testy.
That brings me to my next question, and this is what I mean when I say establishing boundaries, right? For when it comes to family relationship dynamics. Okay, it's Christmas. You and I are just dating, but we're heavy dating.
Heavy dating.
You know you about to lock it down, and I know I don't want to be with nobody else.
Because heavy dating and heavy dating is two different type of dating.
You know that you're gonna lock it down. I know that I don't want to be with anybody else, right? Let's use that as an example. And so we're dating, and it's Christmas, but you only got enough money to buy me or your mama a Christmas gift. Who's getting that gift?
What? Oh, you wanted me to answer the question. 3 minutes later. Yes, it is funny a little bit. So what was the question? If I only got enough money for one Christmas gift.
Right.
And well, I guess my mom gonna be SOL. Can I say SOL in Ordained Love Podcast? Can you use acronyms on it?
But first of all, who was that? Somebody was telling me the other day. I don't know, I can't remember. But somebody was my friend was telling me her nephew was like, yeah, I'm gonna tell my cousin SOB. Stay on top of business. And then my friend
stay on business.
Yeah. Okay. So she was talking to her nephew, and her nephew was speaking to her in reference to her son, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna give my little cousin some advice. I'm gonna tell him SOB. and so my friend was like,
you gonna say what now?
She knows, she's watching, and you know who you are. She was like, SOB. She said, well, you can't. She was like, well, you don't need to say SOB, because when old people, to older people, SOB means something totally different. And then he was like, well, that's why I'm not saying it to an old person.
That's it.
I'm saying it to my cousin. And so, yeah, acronym, I don't know. They can get a little tricky.
Well, yeah.
A little shaky.
Again, whatever you decide, whether you give it to mama or the girl, and then most men will probably be like, look, I got to win this one. So mama might not like it if mama has always historically gotten gifts every year, right? Now you don't got to, unless you already know.
But that's my point. That's the establishing of the boundary. Mama, you got to understand, I love you. Right. You're always going to be my mama. Right. Nothing's going to change the fact that you're my mom. But now I have to make room for this new person, right? And I think,
well, I guess the
holidays are a time where it is revealed to you if the person intends on making room for you in their life. Right. Or if they want, you to squeeze into what's already been established.
That's true. And it's a time to where if you haven't had thick skin to start developing it, because you're,
Lord, yes,
right, because you're putting this wedge in.
Because people got family members, especially if they the only boy, and then it's a bunch of girls in the family, and they can, like, you're related, you can't have him anyway. Why is you mad? I'm sorry. It's true. Oh my gosh. Can I just say that? Can we just be transparent for a moment?
No, we can't. So anyways, going back.
Wait, no.
Yes.
You want to get into me having two families?
We're not on the next episode, not right now.
We got time.
No, Yvonne is being messy right now. Remember the whole messy thing that we said that she wasn't really about? All of a sudden, she wanted to spill tea. Go ahead and spill your tea, Yvonne.
Since I met you, I feel unbreakable.